Die Hard 2, Die Harder. A good movie, but with a few problems. The plot is, I guess it takes a couple years after the first one, and McClane is going to pick up his wife from the airport, but terrorists take over. And this is a problem for the planes because they're not allowed to land, and if they're not allowed to land, they're going to just be flying around in circles, and they're going to be dropping because of no fuel. So Bruce Willis is John McClane again, and they do a super good job at portraying his character. He feels like your typical average cop. As for the bad guy was pretty good. I think he's the only villain that can actually beat McClane in a fist-to-fist fight. But I never actually felt him as an actual threat. Like, I just didn't get that feeling from him that I was just never like... And that's what I look for in villains, you know? Sure, he told off a news lady, but that I just couldn't grasp his terrifying presence. Don't get me wrong, I thought he did an okay job. I just think he wasn't that scary. Now, I don't want to be mean or anything, but this movie felt forced just a little. Like, the news reporter guy comes back from the first one. The reporter that Holly punched. I mean, this movie could have worked without him. It didn't really need him. I just felt that way. I don't know how you guys feel, but that's how I felt. And the way this movie starts, it just kind of starts so suddenly. Like, you got the logo, then the title appears, then John's yelling because he's getting a ticket. And I just like movies that have a little bit more of a intro than that. If you saw the movie, you'll know what I mean. This movie did have its ups and downs, but I did enjoy a few scenes. I loved the scene where the bad guy gets out of the plane and says, "Freedom." And then John just goes, and I gotta admit, I think it has the best yippee-ki-yay line of all of them. Yippee-ki-yay! Yippee-ki-yay! But there were some scenes where you're just kind of like, eh. Like when the plane explodes and John goes flying in the air going... Now, I think this movie had a lot good going for it and a lot bad going for it. There was just some really good things that worked, and there was just some things that you just don't care for. But that's my only opinion. Sure, the action was there and the comedy was there at parts, but it just didn't feel like it had heart. But it did still have that Christmas feel like the first Die Hard movie did, and that was awesome. And I think Bruce Willis did a super job at this one too, like he did in the first one. I don't want to say mean or anything, but I think if it wasn't for Bruce Willis as John McClane, this movie would just be terrible. And I know that's kind of harsh to say, but I think it's true. Because there's just no other way that this movie could be good. Imagine if Mel Gibson was John McClane.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Or if Sean Connery was John McClane.
Yippee-ki-yay.
I just don't think they could pull it off as well as Bruce Willis did. I did find myself bored a few times while watching this movie. The story seemed kind of laggy at parts, and there's just some things in this movie that you'll either like or you don't. I wouldn't say it's awesome, but I am gonna give it an average babies. It was a good popcorn flick overall. Don't expect an Oscar movie, just a popcorn flick. Comment below, give me a suggestion of what movie I should review next, and if you like what you saw here, give me a thumbs up and subscribe.